Let us consider a point charge Q placed in vacuum. This charge Q produces an electric field everywhere in its surrounding, like the smell of a flower spread in its surrounding. The magnitude of the smell decreases as the distance increases from the flower. Similarly, the magnitude of the electric field decreases as the distance increases from point charge. The direction of the electric field is radially outward from the positive point charge and point towards a negative point charge. Here is a positive charge. We can imagine two equivalent small element of areas at the point A and B, which are normal to field lines. 4 lines are passing through the area element placed at A. Only 2 lines are passing through the area element placed at B. The number of field lines cutting the area elements is proportional to the magnitude of the field at these points. Since there are more number of field lines at A, the electric field at A is stronger than the electric field at B. The electric field decreases as the square of the distance from a point charge, but the number of field lines crossing a given area remains constant. Let us consider some lines of fishes crossing through a water column. Place a net there and try to find out the number of fishes crossing through the opening of the net. If vector A be the area vector and vector F is the fish intensity crossing the area vector A, then the number of fishes crossing across the given area is fish intensity multiplied by area. This will give the number of fishes crossing per area. Something crossing per area can be called as flux. So this can be called as fish flux. Just replace these fish lines by electric field lines, and like fish intensity F, here the electric field intensity E, then the amount of electric field lines in a given region equal to electric field intensity multiplied by area vector. So we can define the electric flux as the product of electric field intensity and area. In vector form, it can be written as electric flux equal to vector E dot vector A. So electric flux is the measure of distribution of electric field through a given surface. That is, the number of field lines that intersect a given area is flux. It is represented by vector E dot vector A or EA cos theta. The flux is represented by the symbol pi. Therefore, we can write pi equal to vector E dot vector A. There is a relationship between the total electric flux and the charge enclosed in the closed area. That relationship is given by Gauss theorem. According to Gauss theorem, the total flux linked with a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times of the total charge enclosed by the closed surface. Integral E dot ds is the total flux and Q be the total charge enclosed on the closed surface. Then these two can be related using Gauss's theorem as integral E dot ds equal to Q by epsilon 0. Gauss theorem is a powerful tool for calculating electric fields when they are originate from charge distributions of sufficient symmetry to apply it. In this video, let us find out the electric field due to a point charge, the electric field due to an infinitely long charged wire, the electric field due to charged infinite plane sheet, the electric field due to two parallel charged infinite sheets, the electric field due to charged spherical shell. We can apply Gauss theorem by following 5 steps. Step 1. Identify the spatial symmetry of the charge distribution. For example, for a point charge, the charge distribution is spherical symmetry. Step 2. Choose a correct Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface is an imaginary closed surface in 3-dimensional space through which the flux of the vector field is calculated. Step 3. Calculate the flux through the surface. That is, we have to find out the value of integral E dot ds. Step 4. Calculate the amount of charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. That is, we have to find the value of Q. Step 5. Evaluate the electric field by applying Gauss's theorem. First, let us calculate the electric field due to a point charge. Consider a point charge with a charge q. Let us calculate the electric field at a point P. The point P is at a distance R from Q. For a point charge, the best symmetrical closed surface is a sphere. Therefore, Gaussian surface is a sphere with radius R. The electric flux in the Gaussian sphere is integral E ds cos theta. At every point on the sphere, angle between the electric field and the area vector n cap is 0 degree. Therefore, the electric flux is equal to integral E ds cos 0. Since cos 0 equal to 1, electric flux equal to integral E ds. Since electric field is also uniform in Gaussian surface, E can be taken out from the integral. Therefore, electric flux equal to E into integral ds. Integral ds is nothing but the area of the sphere. Therefore, integral ds equal to 4 pi r square, which is the area of the sphere, and the electric flux pi can be written as E into 4 pi r square. Now let us find out the total charge. Let us take the total charge is Q. According to Gauss's theorem, pi equal to Q by epsilon 0, substitute the value of pi and Q here. We will get E into 4 pi r square equal to Q by epsilon 0. From this, electric field due to a point charge can be calculated as E equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square. Electric field due to an infinitely long charged wire. Consider an infinitely long straight wire having uniform linear charge density lambda. Let P be a point located at a perpendicular distance r from the wire. The electric field at the point P can be found out using Gauss law. For an infinitely long charged wire, the best symmetrical closed surface is a cylinder. Therefore, the correct Gaussian surface is a cylinder with radius small r and length capital L. Cylindrical Gaussian surface has three surfaces. From the top and bottom surfaces of the cylinder, the angle between electric field and area vector is 90 degree. Therefore, electric flux equal to integral E ds cos 90. Since cos 90 equal to 0, the electric flux at the top and bottom surface are 0. For the curved surface of the cylinder, angle between electric field and the area vector is 0. Then the total electric flux pi equal to integral E ds cos 0. Since cos 0 equal to 1, the electric flux on the curved surface is pi equal to integral E ds. Since electric field is uniform in the Gaussian surface, E can be taken out from the integral. Therefore, electric flux equal to E into integral ds. Integral ds is nothing but the curved surface area of the cylinder. Therefore, integral ds equal to 2 pi rl, which is the curved surface area of the cylinder. Substitute the value of integral ds in electric flux. We will get the total electric flux equal to pi equal to E into 2 pi rl. Here lambda is the linear charge density. Therefore, the total charge Q equal to lambda L. According to Gauss theorem, pi equal to Q by epsilon 0. Substitute the value of pi and Q here. We will get E into 2 pi rl equal to lambda L by epsilon 0. From this, we can write the electric field due to an infinitely long charged wire as E equal to lambda by 2 pi epsilon 0 r. Now let us calculate the electric field due to a charged infinite plane sheet. Consider an infinite plane sheet of charges with uniform surface charge density sigma. Let P be a point at a distance R from the sheet. A be the area of cross section. Since the plane is infinite large, the electric field should be same at all points equidistant from the plane on both sides. A cylindrical shaped Gaussian surface of length 2r and area A of the flat surfaces is chosen such that the infinite plane sheet passes perpendicularly through the middle part of the Gaussian surface. For the curved surface of the cylinder, angle between the electric field and area vector is 90 degrees. Therefore, electric flux equal to integral EdS cos 90. Since cos 90 equal to 0, electric flux over the curved surface area equal to 0. Angle between the electric field and area vector on the surface area at P1 and P2 is 0 degrees. Therefore, electric flux at these points are integral EdS cos 0. Since cos 0 equal to 1, electric flux at P1 and P2 equal to integral E ds. Since electric field is uniform, E can be taken out from the integral. Therefore, electric flux at P1 equal to E into integral ds. Integral ds is nothing but the cross-sectional area of a cylinder. Therefore, integral ds equal to capital A. Total electric flux equal to EA at P1 plus EA at P2. Therefore, total electric flux equal to EA plus EA, that is 2EA. Here sigma is the surface charge density. Therefore, total charge Q is equal to sigma into A. According to Gauss's theorem, pi equal to Q by epsilon 0. Substitute the value of pi and Q in this equation. We will get 2EA equal to sigma A by epsilon 0. From this, the electric field can be calculated as E equal to sigma by 2 into epsilon 0. The electric field due to two parallel charged infinite sheets. Consider two infinitely large charged plane sheets with equal and opposite charge density plus sigma and minus sigma, which are placed parallel to each other. The magnitude of the electric field due to an infinitely charged plane sheet is E equal to sigma by 2 epsilon 0. At the point P2 and P3, electric field due to both plates are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So, total electric field equal to sigma by 2 epsilon 0 minus sigma by 2 epsilon 0 equal to 0. At the point P1, the electric field due to both plates are equal in magnitude and same direction. So, the total electric field equal to sigma by 2 epsilon 0 plus sigma by 2 epsilon 0. The total electric field is sigma by epsilon 0. Now let us calculate the electric field due to an uniformly charged spherical shell. Consider a uniformly charged spherical shell of radius capital R and total charge Q. The electric field at points outside and inside the sphere is found out using Gauss's law. Let us choose a point P outside the shell at a distance R from the center. The charge is uniformly distributed on the surface of the sphere, so it is spherical symmetry. So we can choose a spherical Gaussian surface of radius small r. At every point on the sphere, the angle between electric field and the area vector is 0 degrees. Therefore, electric flux equal to integral E ds. Since electric field also uniform, E can be taken out from the integral. Therefore, electric flux equal to E into integral ds. Integral ds is nothing but area of the sphere. Therefore, integral ds equal to 4 pi r square. Substitute in electric flux, we will get electric flux pi equal to E into 4 pi r square. The total charge in the sphere is capital Q. According to Gauss's theorem, pi equal to Q by epsilon 0. Substitute the value of pi and Q. We will get E into 4 pi r square equal to Q by epsilon 0. From this, the electric field outside a uniformly charged spherical shell can be calculated, and it is given by E equal to capital Q by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square. If you want to find out the electric field at a point on the surface of the spherical shell, we have to substitute small r equal to capital R. Therefore, the electric field at any point on the spherical shell is given by E equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square. Now let us consider a point P inside the spherical shell at a distance r from the center. The charge is uniformly distributed on the surface of the sphere, so it is spherical symmetry. So we choose a spherical Gaussian surface of radius small r. At every point on the sphere, angle between the electric field and the area vector is 0. Therefore, total electric flux equal to integral EdS. Since the electric field is uniform, E can be taken out from the integral. Therefore, electric flux equal to E into integral ds. Integral ds is nothing but area of the sphere. Therefore, integral ds equal to 4 pi r square. Substitute the value of ds in pi, we will get the electric flux pi equal to E into 4 pi r square. Inside the shell, the total charge equal to 0. According to Gauss's theorem, E into 4 pi epsilon 0 r square equal to 0 by epsilon 0. Therefore, electric field inside a uniformly charged spherical shell is given by E equal to 0.